Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Moving into the Future. Today, I am joined again by the Advanced Group COO, KJ Kennedy. KJ's been a very busy man the last couple of weeks. So KJ, thanks for joining us. What's new since our last episode, brother?
Well, a lot. We're going to get into all those details, but I'm going to start out by saying I think Anthony Parziale has dumped gasoline on this industry and set it on fire.
That's absolutely right.
Flicked his cigar as he's walking away. There's a lot of stuff that I think people don't even recognize that have been seeing the optics of everything that's happened. So the big news and the big elephant in this room, I'm going to try not to tap here. I learned that last time. We've acquired Sorensen Moving and Storage and Sorensen Logistics based out of Orlando and Melbourne, Florida. That is the huge elephant in the room. Incredible news, incredible company. We're going to get into all those details, but I just want to preface this by saying Anthony specifically is a machine. 2 weeks before the closing of this deal, Anthony executed the purchase agreement that he had back from 2015 with Jim Molloy Sr. Right. So Anthony essentially has purchased 4 companies within 1 month. So just a shout out to him. And it's just incredible. I mean, so to say that we've been busy specifically for the past couple of weeks, I mean, we're talking like 6 to 8 months. We've been hammering away, but I couldn't be more fired up. I mean, the energy is infectious, and let's do this. I'm ready to go. Let's get into the details.
Yeah, man. It is really an exciting time, and shout out Anthony for sure. He is by far one of the most impressive businessmen that I know, and the way that he operates. And now a little, behind the scenes here, behind the curtain, the last time I saw you and Anthony, you were walking into the Advanced Group office in New York.
I thought you knew exactly what we were up to.
See, that's what I was saying. I don't really know what's going on a lot of times. I just focus on what I got to do with national accounts and the national move management. And you guys were in the office and you were on a call. And again, I don't pry, I don't eavesdrop, but you guys were working on it then. And
we were actually talking about closing.
Yeah,
and that was a critical call. And I know the glass walls are not soundproof, and you shot me a look, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure he knows what's going on now. And I think at that point, I mean, we were like 4.5 months deep into this deal, and I suspected that a lot of people knew what was going on. We had a lot of closed door meetings, and I figured people knew at that point.
Yeah, I knew you guys were cooking something up, but as far as the acquisition goes, tell us more about it. How did it present itself? How did you guys hone in on Sorensen? What were the details behind it?
Yeah, so I'm going to jump back to our last episode. When I came on the podcast last, we were talking about a lot of the things that the Advanced Group was doing to position ourselves for something like an acquisition. And I mentioned it on that podcast. That was a very unique period in time because we had just gotten our house in order. Our foundation was really sound. Anthony gave the nod to the executive team. Shortly thereafter that podcast, we're ready for an acquisition. Our process was refined. Everything was in order. We were hitting the net profit, margin that we wanted to. So we were really like, hey, our backyard is clean. Let's go out and let's find some new backyards. Mm-hmm. And, I'm going to dial it back to October 2022. So Anthony went to the Unigroup conference out in Huntington Beach, California. And while he was out there, he linked up with Tom Linares from Dodge Moving and Storage. Super sharp guy. I admire him a lot. Also an OMA partner. And he's just, he's sharp as a tack, and he's very well seasoned in this industry. Approached Anthony, knew Anthony was looking for acquisition. Anthony was also not shy about specifically targeting Florida. And Tom said, hey, do you know Scott Sorensen? And Anthony at that point knew of Chris, but didn't know them very well personally. So Tom connected the two of them. They met at a bar, at night, and then the next day got coffee. And, within 24 hours of that meeting, I got a phone call from Anthony basically saying, buckle up, we're purchasing in Florida. And I said, put me in, coach, I'm ready.
That's it.
So that's really kind of how all of that started playing out. Scott Sorensen, quick shout out to him. I mean, he has built an incredible company.
Yeah, it is.
Sorensen Moving and Storage and Sorensen Logistics is the perfect acquisition for us. And we'll get into some of the synergies between the two companies. But really, I mean, he is a guy that says what he does and does what he says. We got to meet him, a bunch of times, before we even got to our diligence period. They're built on quality values, excellence. I mean, they hold their quality standards, to the top notch. They're lean, they're hungry, they're a young management team. So Scott and Chris they've done an incredible job putting this company together. And I also have to say they're gentlemen. I mean, we got through this acquisition. It was clean. It was quick. We'll get into timeline a little bit later in the conversation, but I mean, a lot of kudos to them.
Yeah.
They're a stand-up organization.
And you say a couple of things as far as them being lean, as far as them being young, as far as them being gentlemen. Those are things that correlate with the Advance Group in itself. And, what we try to do here as far as, we have a focus. And, that focus is to provide high-quality service, to our clients in New York. And now we're also doing that in Florida. And one more thing I wanted to say, too, just quickly chime in. All the best business deals start in a bar at night, sometimes in Huntington Beach. So, that makes sense. But as far as, the Advance Group stage in New York and what we've done here, and like you said, we had our backyard in line, and our profits were in line, and everything from a metric standpoint showed that we could get into Florida or another market, any other market. But what would you say was the biggest benefits as far as acquiring Sorensen and then getting into the Florida market? Because Florida right now is such a huge economy and also such a huge market in general, as for what we do.
Yeah, so there are tons of benefits. Sorensen Moving and Storage has built a tremendous reputation for themselves on the residential side of the moving industry. They're a Unigroup Mayflower agent. Shout out to Randy Thiel. Randy has built a team of like 17, 18 over-the-road drivers, top-notch drivers, long-haul drivers. They're hauling about 148 to 150% of their capacity, which is incredible. So they're a large hauler in the Unigroup system. When you merge Sorensen Moving and Storage with Molloy Moving and Storage, which is our New York residential moving company, we are a force to be reckoned with. Mm-hmm. We are a very large Unigroup stockholder, which unlocks a lot of benefits for us. Our combined capacity enables serious driver recruitment, guaranteed backhauls for our drivers. We're running up and down the east corridor, northeast to southeast corridor. So on the residential side of the business, we're a powerhouse, and we have a lot to learn from Sorensen. We do a great job up here in New York, but Sorensen does an exceptional job in pretty much all facets of the residential moving industry. So that's huge right there. On the commercial side of the business, Sorensen has very quickly grown. They started in Melbourne, Florida, and in under a decade expanded out toward the Orlando market. Chris Sorensen and Justin Cole, two heavy hitter salespeople that are still on board with us today, grew that market, and they established FF&E installation, commercial moving in Orlando, enabled them to buy a 150,000 square foot facility there that is top notch, just gorgeous. And they had some growing pains. And in this acquisition, we recognized that we've refined ourselves so well in New York, we can just duplicate that down in the Orlando markets. And really, I mean, I'm seeing a ton of low-hanging fruit there right now, like immediate pickups. And that's probably what fires me up the most. And the other thing is the employees there are amazing. They're ready and hungry for new process. And they're just like, if information is water, they're drinking out of a fire hose right now. And they're saying, thank you, sir, may I have another?
Yeah, so. That's great. And again, too, we talk so often about OMA on this podcast, but the Unigroup system is such an integral part of the ecosystem of, global moving and logistics as well. So for the Advance Group, now to become a major player, and we were, a well-known player in that before, but now, to have that standing.
They're also an OMA partner.
Right.
Which and to plug OMA really quick, I mean, we're already a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
Watch out.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's good. It's all good stuff.
But yeah, as far as that, I know Chris and Justin too. They are high quality salespeople, and part of what I was saying before, as far as those correlations, one of the things that Sorensen has, and you just mentioned, was that, big standing residentially. And, now we're going to bring that on. But then also from the commercial standpoint, and what we talked about last time you were on the podcast, is our refined processes and the way that we do things, and what you've done such a good job at, to implement that down there is going to be such a massive benefit for
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, also going through that process again with all the employees is so helpful for me.
It is, right.
And there's almost like reflective moments where it's like, wow, we've come a long way for the advanced group, and it's amazing to be able to share this with people, in Sorensen, and take it to the next level.
And relatively in a short period of time. I mean,
5 months.
Yeah, right. That's incredible. And to see how easy that transition is, because sometimes these acquisitions too can be a real pain. And, and the merge of two companies together, two large companies as far as our industry goes together, can be very difficult. So what were more of the difficult parts as far as bringing this deal together? Were there any roadblocks that you ran into?
Yeah, so timing was a big one. We got this deal done in 5 months. So anyone who's been around acquisitions recognizes there's so much to prepare. Mm-hmm. I want to plug Sean and Mackenzie real quick. They're two senior leaders down in Florida, and they have over-delivered on every deadline we've given them. They've been working long hours, and they've done just an incredible job putting all this together on their side of it. We've been busting our butts, here in New York as well. It's been tough. I mean, so the timing wise, I just got off a plane from Florida on Friday. Mm-hmm. I came off a 21-day stretch at work, which is I would tell you it was tiring, but it's energizing. I mean, we're just making so many big moves and quick decisions and steamrolling, and it's been an incredible experience. And I'm also going to plug our wives real quick. Mm-hmm. So my wife Felicia and Anthony's wife Vicky have been our rocks. I mean, big time. If it wasn't for them, I don't know if we'd have all this support. And I'm also going to plug all the husbands and wives of the Advanced Group and Sorensen companies, because we're a company that really supports work-life balance. Getting to this deal encroaches on work-life balance, and if it wasn't for the spouses and the significant others of the company, we wouldn't have gotten it done. So I appreciate them.
Right, and because you think about it too, this was a holiday season, as well, with Easter and Passover. And all of those different things. I mean, spring breaks, this is a big spring break time for a lot of families, and a lot of that stuff had to be put on hold in order to get this done. So, certainly credit where credit is due to the significant others of the advanced groups in Sorensen in order to make it happen.
Yeah.
So to peel back the curtain there, what did those 21 days involve? Because it was a lot of work. I know you were down there working really hard. What were you doing while you were down there?
Yeah, so, I mean, it was 21 days down in Florida, but obviously there were many, many days and weeks leading up to going down to Florida. We were closing the deal. So there's a lot that happens in an acquisition, and I had to physically be down there. There were certain people we had to onboard before we closed, and then there were people that we were onboarding after we closed. And like I said, this was a gentleman's acquisition. Everybody played very well with each other. Scott Sorensen is still on board with us as a consultant to the executive team. Chris is still on board as a heavy hitter sales executive, and the relationship is very strong. But leading up to a closing, you don't have access to all the employees, whether it's on-site or off-site. So it was a lot of preparation of just for day one when we start. And just to be clear with everyone on the podcast, we have 1 week under our belt, post-acquisition, post-closing date, post-employees being on our payroll. And we've made very quick work of that 1 week.
Yeah, I could only imagine that. Just being in sales, I have my focus and what I do, as I mentioned before. But as far as going through an acquisition and having to transition all of those employees over, must be a very difficult and cumbersome process. How do you prepare for that acquisition transition?
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes in there, and it's you have to have the ability. One thing that Anthony and I are really good at, and we've gotten really good at, is being able to zoom out to 10,000 feet and look at the overall vision and picture of what we need to accomplish, and then being able to zoom in on a daily basis to be laser focused on a grain of sand. And traversing those two things is scary, because when you're in the details on a daily basis and you need to think of this 10,000 foot plan and what you have to accomplish and all of the pieces of an acquisition that have to come together, you could give yourself a panic attack.
Yeah.
So we've gotten very good at talking strategy and high level, and then on a daily basis, getting down to the nitty gritty, getting in the trenches shoulder to shoulder with everybody, really focusing on the task lists that have to happen. And then you have to just execute one thing after the other, and then you don't look back. And then there's times where you could look back and say, wow, we've come a far way. But it's really that component that's important.
And that makes sense too, because again, as high level business leaders and business owners, you have to take that macro approach and what is this going to look like? How do we want this to operate? But then as far as, a small business owner and somebody who's going to be involved day to day with, all of the employees and what they're doing down there, then you got to take that micro approach.
That's the professional side of it.
Yeah.
On the personal side of it, Anthony and I have made some major changes as well. So once we found out that this acquisition was really going to happen, Anthony and I got very serious about our personal health and training.
You look great.
And thank you. Anthony looks great. I mean, Anthony's down like 50 pounds right now.
God bless him. Good. We need him around.
And it's not about, what I'm specifically speaking about is not about looks. It's about brain function and having energy. And, we're back and forth on flights. Now that I'm off the 3-week stretch, I'm back and forth from Florida on a weekly basis. And, if I have to show up and have brain function for work in a specific way, I also have to show up for my wife at home after a long day or a difficult day and not be completely drained. And that's my commitment to her. So Anthony and I, had a conversation where we were like, look, we need to up the training. We need to clean up the diet. We need to have a full tank of gas. We need the mindset that if we're having a difficult day, we have a conversation behind closed doors. We walk out onto the floor and we're wearing a smile and we're there as a strong leader, not just for our New York company, but now for our Florida company. I told you it was going to happen, and it happened.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
So the personal side of it is huge. And Anthony and I actually in Florida have been training together.
Nice.
Which has been really
fun. Doing CrossFit?
There's like an outdoor rig and a whole setup inside, which is really cool. I've been still following my workouts in Bayport CrossFit, but I mean, Anthony's a beast. He if he wasn't in business, he could give any he could be like an NFL linebacker or something. I mean, that guy's built like a brick. I'm not gonna say a curse word on here, but he's built like a brick wall.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. He definitely is, and
and he can move.
Yep.
He can move.
That's the thing. He'd make a nasty nose tackle or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, even having 21 straight days of work, I'm not missing workouts.
Yep.
We're eating clean.
Good.
And it's helping.
Yeah.
It's definitely helping.
It does, because that's something that can get away from you too, and it'll the wires are short circuit, if you will.
Absolutely.
So that's very good. So, you talk about that, mental training program and physical training program. How are you managing, the training programs for employees? Because again, now you're synergizing two companies. Not sure that's a word, but you're creating those synergies between two companies. And how are you managing those training programs now for the new employees down there? And are you also doing anything up here to kind of synergize the employees like that?
Yeah. So believe it or not, we actually have 3 project coordinators from Florida here right now.
Oh, great.
They're actually at our office in Farmingdale
today,
training directly with Christy.
Oh, nice.
And everybody else. So yeah, the training, like I said, if information is water, they're drinking out of a fire hose. And our training program starts at the front of the job life cycle. So, Anthony and Jeff has played a great role as a mentor to the sales team, not only in New York, but also in Florida. He's working with them on the sales process. And then once the handoff comes from sales, it hits our project coordinators. So that's the starting point for our training process, which is why we felt it was important to bring them up to New York. They're here right now. So shout out to Vince, Fab, and Priscilla. So they're in-house. And hopefully we're going to get you guys some good New York Italian before you go back. I know they were talking about wanting that, so that's really cool. But yeah, and we have a bunch of different programs going on. We're going to be also heavily investing in project management down in Florida. They have like quasi-project managers down there. Our success here in New York is built off project management, so we're just going to replicate that program down there. We've elevated a few employees already who are hungry and show all the right indicators for project management. And we're going to continue to train through the job life cycle all the way to the accounting department. So it's intense and it's a lot. And what I mentioned earlier is we didn't have access to the employees until the closing day. So this is a very big undertaking to have happen. But all of our directors up in New York are doing an incredible job of being available to everyone down in Florida. And then our leaders down in Florida are just killing it. I mean, they're rolling with every punch. They're learning quick. They're pivoting. They're doing everything that they should be doing. And I give them, I just want to shout out really quick our directors in New York. So Mario, Christy, Orlando, Vinny, Anthony, Dave, Steven, Linda, Ellen, and Jimmy. If it weren't for them holding everything in place in New York, and not just holding it in place, but absolutely crushing it, we wouldn't be able to go down there. And then down in Florida, our leaders down there, Sean, Mackenzie, Randy, Chris, Justin, Tiffany, Dylan, Jenya, Christian, and Elizabeth are the best in class.
Yeah.
We couldn't have dreamt up a roster of employees that they were. And Scott said that they were good, but talk is always cheap, and he did not under-deliver in that department. I mean, pretty much Scott, he didn't understate anything, but he was humble in what his company was. And I'm grateful for him and Chris and everyone that's built that company, because they're winners. We're winners and they're winners.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
Because again, when you're talking about family-owned small businesses, it's the people that make the companies function.
Yep.
And when you can have buy-in, obviously we have buy-in up here. We've been around. We're a name. We know what we're going to get out of this here.
Yep.
When you can do that in making an acquisition, in a market that's 300 miles or no, much farther away, 1,000, 1,500 miles away, that's huge. And they can come and be a part of this family now. And we're all operating together with the same mission in hand, again, to provide that quality service. It makes such an impact. And you do such a good job, as well as Anthony and all of the people that you mentioned, from a leadership standpoint, to offer that support and tell them, we're here for you. We're here to help you. We're here to guide you. Here's how we're going to do that and make that happen. Do you have a timeline as far as like when it's full steam ahead? I know we're full steam ahead right now, but like, have you envisioned like when is this going to be complete, if you will? It'll always be kind of going, but
Sean and I got together and we assessed very quickly everything that's going on in Florida, and they're progressing at a pretty fast pace.
You mentioned that, yeah.
What I envision, and I want to over-deliver on this, but I want to be conservative also. So one thing that we need to do is scale up all these processes. So, I want to, first of all, Brian Martin coming on board was an acquisition.
I was going to mention that eventually, yeah.
By the way, I love that guy.
I mean, he's the best. Again, another just quality person.
What a class act.
Really, I mean, he's just really.
If I was that tall and handsome, I'd be a dick. Am I allowed to say that on
here?
Yeah,
you can. Yeah, you can.
But really, he's like a gentleman. He's like the whole package.
Nicest guy. He is.
So you guys are all going to blow the doors off the sales there. Mm-hmm. But what we need to be tuned into is scalability. So we had a nice lunch with Brian came out. Shapiro was in town. Unfortunately, Jeff couldn't make it down there, but Justin and Chris and Anthony and myself, and we were talking about, and Sean also, who is me of the South, and he's awesome. I mean, he's a hungry guy, and he's got an insane capacity to work, and he's also wise beyond his years. So we're very lucky to have him. But him and I assessed that we need 3 months to build a foundation. We need 6 months to gain strength. And then we need 1 year to become elite. Mm-hmm. And by elite, I mean become the advanced group of the South.
Right.
And to be clear on marketing, Sorensen is not going to lose their name. They're Sorensen Moving and Storage, specifically on the household side of the business. They've built such an incredible brand, and that's part of what we wanted to purchase. We will market Advance down south for some national accounts that know us up here. We'll market Sorensen Logistics with the clients who know, and also when it makes sense for us to market Sorensen Logistics. So there'll be a co-branding situation down there. But I think it's going to take us a year to get elite. And, the important collaboration with sales is I don't want to blow up any of your accounts down there. And I'm not concerned that we're going to blow up accounts. But if we blow the doors off this and we don't scale up with those project management teams, beefing up inventory technicians in their warehouse, tightening up some inventory type things, we don't want service failures. And I remember the days of the Advance Group when there were service failures. We have a long list of alumni who I've gotten to learn from, who have made massive mistakes in this industry. I soaked it all up like a sponge, and I know about every mistake when it happens because I get calls from you guys. The frequency of those calls is so infrequent, and I'm so proud of it. And I was explaining that to the some of the people through this acquisition. That is elite. When you can sit in a room with your sales team and ops team and genuinely like each other and care about each other, that's hard for some industries and businesses to do.
Moving companies specifically. I mean, the
ops and sales have tension.
Right.
We're unique and we're elite. So, I mean, it's...
Yeah, and that's why, we're in the position that we're in to, acquire a company like this and expand into a new market. You've set it up great. And like I've said, not just yourself, but Anthony, and then you go into, Jim and Jeff and all the people internally who do so much, Christy. It's really just a well-oiled machine. So, you talk about a year in order to become elite. How is it managing both, New York and Florida offices? How's that going to look for you?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I'm back and forth a lot. I can't speak highly enough of our directors, our managers, our employees, our supervisors. They are they are the company. And, I can be remote. I mean, if you think about it, when I'm in New York and I'm dealing with New Jersey, or I'm in Jersey dealing with New York, I'm remote between those two offices. Now there's just a new element in there.
Yeah.
Now we have the Florida companies. I have so much confidence in the team down there, and I'm so impressed with what I've seen so far. They're blowing the milestones I set in place, even though we're 1 week in here. I feel like we're, much further along. So I don't know exactly how it all plays out as far as, I'm pretty much down there every week. I'm splitting my weeks between Orlando, Melbourne, New Jersey, and Long Island. So there's a lot of travel. But I feel very dialed in with everybody. I connect with everybody daily on the phone. And yeah, that's like the new chapter of the Advance Group for me, which is fun.
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, again, as a chief operating officer of a moving company, what more could you really ask for between two markets? I mean, New York and Florida.
Yeah.
As far as two markets go in this country for what we do,
yeah,
there probably aren't two much better ones to be in right now. So that is very exciting. And I kind of wanted to talk about that next too a little bit, as far as what this means for the industry and for the Advance Group and what we're building here. Would you say that this positions us to be certainly one of the most elite moving companies on the East Coast?
Absolutely. We need a little time down in Florida, but absolutely. I'm very confident of it. Our leaders are, our company is our people, and our people are winners, and we have a winning set of companies.
Yeah.
I could smell $100 million coming down the pike.
I'll tell you what, that's when I came on here. That was a big goal of mine too, is to help this company get to $100 million. Now, when I came here, I didn't know it would be acquiring companies in Florida within 3 years.
Yeah.
But even still, that's a big goal. Now I'd like to do that within a very short period of time compared to where I thought it was going to be the last time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to talk revenue numbers. I think that number specifically is a huge milestone
Absolutely.
for any company.
I mean, again, you have to, what we remember, we are a large operation and company, but we are a small business,
Yep.
when you look at it, and to be $100 million small business, family owned, I mean, only so many of those exist in this country.
Yep.
So, to be a part of one is incredibly exciting.
Yeah. So it may not be this year, may not be next year, but within 5 years, we're gonna hit those numbers. For me, I'm a bottom line guy. Any COO is a bottom line guy. My job is to make sure that we're hitting those numbers with the right net profit. A lot of companies got it twisted. They go out there, they're trying to buy everything up. There's a lot of companies out there that were probably looking to buy Sorensen and turn them onto a dot, dot on the map. And as Jeff Silverstein would say, turn the employees into a bunch of nothing burgers.
Right.
That's not us. Nope. We're laser focused, and we only want to grow at the right profitability margin, and that is exactly what we're going to do. And I couldn't be more fired up about it. I mean, with all the hours we're putting in for work, I feel energized and I feel ready to go. And I think everybody involved in this would say the same thing. So it's super exciting. We're looking for. I'll leave you the couple cliffhangers. The Florida market is hot. Yeah. We're in 2 areas of Florida. We're going to be looking for more. We're going to be looking for other acquisitions in strategic markets around the United States. We're going to stabilize what we have in our backyard right now. But Anthony Parziale is a hungry guy. Even though he's eating less and he's losing weight, he is a hungry guy.
That makes him more hungry.
Absolutely. And we're going to hit that. And we're also looking for talented sales executives, and we get to be picky. So, if people are out there in the industry and you want to be part of this winning team, reach out to us. We're looking for specialists in our different service lines, big books of business, and all of those things. And then we are going to blow the roof off of OMA.
Yeah,
I mean that was kind of the one other big point I wanted to get to. Between Brian Martin, the Sorensen companies, the advanced group, I mean, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the OMA system, and what an incredible organization that's become. And I'm fired up to go to the next conference. I mean, I can't wait.
It's going to be in Orlando, the National, which is going to be
helps me hosting. Out a lot. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, right. We're hosting.
Yeah.
I think so I'm going to Florida this weekend.
Where are you headed?
Fort Lauderdale, actually, to see.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's Kevin Gray's birthday from First Class.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going down to see him.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but I think I was planning to fly home Monday morning.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to push it to like Tuesday and go up to. I want to see.
Great.
Sorensen.
Hopefully I'll try to be in town for that. I don't even think I booked my next flight. I booked my flight down. I'm going back on Wednesday, but I will try to coordinate.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
When you're there.
I'll let you know because I want to check it out. I want to meet the people. The fact that you mentioned there's coordinators up here today, I'm probably going to head to the office after that. Yeah, definitely, just to say hi and introduce myself.
Yep.
And that's the type of company this is. So you mentioned what's next, and as far as that, is there anything else, on the horizon?
Well, I think our revenue goal is a big one.
Right.
I have this really good gut feeling about what's going on. I feel very confident about it. What's next this week is Sean and I are cooking out for all the crews in Florida. I'm going down there on Wednesday. We are going to be barbecuing for the labor.
Nice.
That's who I want to get to know. I have more fun hanging out with labor than I do a bunch of white collar people anyway. So, we're going to get a bunch of burgers, dogs, sausages. We're going to be slinging. We're going to be aproned up, cooking for everybody. I just want to get to know, everybody on a personal level. And then we're doing that in Orlando, and then we're going to go out to Melbourne and cook for them. And, Dylan's helping us out, put it together in Orlando. And then we're going to do it with Christian in Melbourne. So that's what's next. That's what I'm excited about.
You mentioned the cooking, and with all the work you've been putting in, how are you managing to keep up with Fire Island Catch and Cook and everything you got going on that side?
I'm not. I'm trying. I mean,
you were out this weekend.
Yeah, I was out this weekend. So
you got a new video up, right?
I do. Yeah, as of yesterday. And actually, I did bring you a little swag bag.
Come on. Fire Island Catch and Cook stuff?
I did.
Oh, this is the good stuff, too. Wow.
So
look at this.
I got you a shirt, some hot sauce. So this is we're actually
you make this too, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're branding it.
Look at that for the camera right there. This is my first plug, my first sponsor. You got to get you on a sponsor here.
Oh no, I don't have time for the channel, but I do love fishing, so it's easy enough to just rig up the GoPros and cook up a meal. And striped bass season just opened here in New York, so I got back right in time. And actually had a pretty exciting day fishing yesterday. So
that was a striped bass you caught
that was a 33-inch slot-sized striped bass, and I got it live lining bunker. It was a very exciting fight.
That was a beast.
And I've been fishing I've been fishing and surfing a lot in Florida. So despite how busy we are, I just think you always got to stay moving.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But so. Yeah, we got a lot going on, but it's I can't sit still.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you got to keep on moving, and that's what we do here at the Advanced Group. So, KJ, I'll tell you, between you and Anthony, there couldn't be more or two better people for me to put my faith behind.
I appreciate that.
And everything we do, I've never felt more confident in two people and to lead a company and to make an acquisition and a transition like this. You guys are built for the job, and so is everybody that we mentioned. And I'm so excited myself to meet the Sorensen team and get to know those people and become a part of that family. And make sure we continue to do great work for ourselves, for our clients, for OMA, for Unigroup, all of those people together. I can assure them that we are going to do great things together as we continue to do so.
Likewise.
KJ, thank you for joining us
today. It's a pleasure,
man.
man.
Yeah, man. And considering, the jump we've made from episode 1 to episode 2, I can't wait for episode 3 together. Man. And that's right.
I think I pointed at the camera and said we'd be doing something like this, and we did exactly that.
That's right.
If I give the credit to Anthony's vision and all of our employees, but the one thing I just want to say, if I say something, I always deliver.
That's right. That's right. And that's why this podcast is good, because it is a documentation
of time
and all of the things that we say we're going to do. And then when we come through and do them, it makes it that much better.
Absolutely.
So KJ, thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
See you next time.
Talk
all
to you
right.
soon.
Thanks
Bye.
everybody for listening.